Ethan liked running at sunset, mostly for the quiet, and partly because watching the city dim beneath the old stone bridge always calmed him down. The river was low that evening, the banks muddy and still. As he approached the underpass, he slowed, because he saw someone standing in the shadow beneath the bridge, half hidden behind a pillar. They were completely still, facing the wall as if listening to it. Ethan blinked twice, unsure if he was imagining it. When he looked again, the figure slipped behind the pillar and vanished. He felt a chill crawl up his back. Nobody should have been down there. That area was fenced off. But curiosity grabbed him by the throat, so he stepped closer. He stepped down the embankment, his shoes sinking into the damp mud. The air under the bridge was colder, unnaturally so. "Hey, you okay?" he called out. No answer. Only the low echo of water dripping somewhere deep in the shadows. Ethan walked around the pillar where the figure had been, but the space behind it was empty. No footprints, no disturbed mud, just darkness. He was turning to leave when he heard it. A faint metallic scraping, like someone dragging something across concrete. It came from the far end of the underpass, a place he knew for a fact had no exit. Ethan's pulse quickened. Whoever he'd seen didn't just walk away. They went further inside. The scraping sound stopped abruptly. Then silence. Ethan pulled out his phone to use the flashlight, but the battery was dead, even though he'd charged it before leaving home. He hesitated before stepping deeper under the bridge, guided only by fading daylight. That's when he saw it. A slab of concrete along the wall that didn't match the rest. It looked newer, but crudely patched, like someone had poured concrete by hand. At the bottom corner, the cement had cracked open, revealing a small gap wide enough to slip fingers through. Ethan crouched, pushed at the weakened edge, and the whole panel slid inward with a dull, hollow thud. Behind it, a narrow tunnel stretched into pitch blackness. Ethan stepped inside. The air changed immediately, cold, heavy, untouched. The walls were damp, covered in grime, and something that looked like old soot. The floor sloped downward, and the smell grew stronger. Wet stone, rust, and something faintly rotten. He walked for several minutes, guided only by the faintest trace of light behind him. When he turned back, the entrance was already a distant pinprick. He called out once more. "Hello?" The tunnel answered with a deep, low echo that didn't sound like his own voice coming back. He continued forward, each step feeling heavier. Then, somewhere ahead, a voice whispered. It wasn't loud, barely audible, but it echoed as if the speaker stood only a few feet away. "Go back." Ethan froze. The tunnel remained empty. He backed up slowly, scanning the walls. "Go! Back!" This time the words were sharp, like barked orders, and they came from behind him. When he spun around, he saw no one. But the tunnel entrance was now gone. The walls had shifted into seamless concrete. The tunnel opened into a circular chamber. Ethan stepped inside cautiously. The air was colder than ever. In the center stood 3 human-shaped forms, statue-like silhouettes made of mud and dried river silt, each positioned in lifelike poses. Their faces were distorted, mouths open mid-scream, hands reaching forward. Ethan moved closer and noticed fingernail marks etched across the chamber walls. Fresh ones. A soft shuffle echoed behind Ethan. He turned slowly. One of the statues was no longer where it had been. It was several feet closer. He stepped back, heart pounding. "Stay away from me," he whispered, though he knew it wouldn't matter. A second shuffle, then a third. He swung his head around. All 3 statues were moving. Not quickly, just creeping inches at a time, every time he blinked or turned away, as if the tunnel refused to let them be seen in motion. Ethan sprinted toward the tunnel he entered from, but the chamber had shifted again. The tunnel was no longer straight. It twisted sharply like a maze. He ran anyway, hearing the slow scraping of the statues behind him. The hallway felt like it was folding around him. Every corner led to another identical stretch of concrete. His breaths grew ragged. "This isn't real," he muttered. "It can't be real." But the footsteps behind him were undeniably real. Without warning, Ethan stumbled forward into daylight. He hit the ground hard, gasping. Grass. Wind. Voices. He looked up to see a man walking his dog on a familiar city street. Except, this wasn't the street near the bridge. It was across town, miles away from where he'd entered the tunnel. The man looked at Ethan in confusion. "You all right? Where'd you come from?" Ethan turned around. Behind him was just an old brick wall covered in ivy. No door, no opening, no tunnel. Ethan staggered home, shaken but relieved. By the time he reached his apartment, he almost convinced himself he'd hallucinated the whole thing. He shut his door, leaned against it, and took a long breath. That's when he noticed the mud. 3 distinct muddy footprints led from his doorway to the center of his living room. Each print shaped just like the statue's feet, wide, cracked, and textured like dried river silt. In the corner of the room, standing perfectly still, was a 4th statue, taller than the others. Face half-formed, mouth slightly open. Its eyes were shaped exactly like his,